Hey everybody, this is Chachi from ChachiClothing.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this scorched earth texture in Photoshop from two images I found on the internet, just a picture of some gravel and a dry lake bed. So let's just jump into it. We're going to start with our gravel. First thing we're going to do is going to desaturate it, and then we're going to toy with the contrast a little bit. Just go to Image, Adjustments, and Hue and Saturation. Just grab the saturation slider and drag it all the way out to -100 and take just a little bit, not all of it, a little bit of the lightness out. Then you can go back up to Image, Adjustments, and Curves. We're just going to make real mild S-curve here just to bring out some of the bright whites a little bit more, not too much. And the gravel, for the most part, I think is done right there. I'm actually going to jump over to our dry lake bed. Same thing here, just go to Image, Adjustments, and Saturation. I think just drag it all the way out. Hit OK. Then this one, we're actually going to invert it. Let's go right down there. And we're going to go back to our curves that we did on the other image. This one's going to be a little bit stronger of an S-curve here. Want some real bright whites and very dark blacks. That should do it. And we're done with that. So from our original images, we're going to have this on the gravel and this on the dry lake bed. Alright, now we can start layering these together. So just take your dry lake bed here and click and drag the whole image over to the gravel. Now if you notice, these two images are not the same size. You can size them however you want. I'm just going to let it simply snap to the upper left hand corner so we have a guide to keep all these layers aligned. So you'll leave that there and just change, go from normal, drag it down to screen, let the blacks act as a transparency, and leave that layer alone. Now we're going to have to layer this up 2 more times. Let's go back to the dry lake bed. And we're going to invert it, so you can either hit Command-I or, like I do, go through the menus. So we have that right there. What we're going to do is grab your magic eraser tool, click anywhere in a bright white area, and get rid of all the white. So all we have left is black cracks. So again, drag the whole image over to our gravel. Let's get it to snap into place right over the white layer. Now, instead of dragging it again, we're just going to simply take this layer 2, which is the black cracks, just drag it down into new layer. It'll make a perfect copy of it. So what we're going to do is our first layer of cracks that was all the white, we're just going to leave that alone. The next one, we're going to double click and bring up our layer style window and give it a drop shadow. Now all these settings in here will be dependent on the files that you're working with. I'm just going to show you what I have for mine. So opacity, I'm going to leave it the way it is. Distance, I'll make it 8. Spread 13. And the size, we'll do 10. Yep, let's change that. Going a little too quick there. So there's our drop shadow on that. Just click OK. Now we'll go to our second one. Same thing, bring up layer style. This one I'm going to add some glow to it. So the outer glow and inner glow. So let's start with the outer glow. Just click on the color box here so we can change that. And drag it up to a nice deep red and hit OK. And the spread and the size we're going to change. Spread we're going to do 2 and the size we're going to do 22. Now we got a nice start to our glow. Get some heat in there. the inner glow, you can just leave it just the way it is. Leave it on the yellow, no big deal. And hit OK. So now we've got the start to all of our glows for this. We should be coming really close. Pretty close. So a little bit more to go. Alright, now that we have that done, just make sure the layer with the drop shadow is on top. So we got a little bit more solid black in there. So next, what we want to do is we want to get these glow layers on top. What I'm going to do is go to the one we're working on here. Go to, let's just turn these off so we can see here. Go to your original cracked layer, this one. What I'm going to do is we're going to copy that and make sure that's on the top of everything. I'm going to turn these back on so we can see everything now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some color balance to this and get the oranges and yellows out. It's going to image, adjustments, color balance here. And this is where you're just going to have to toy around with your personal preference as far as colors go. So we'll start with the mid-tones and we'll get a bit of a yellowish orange glow in the center there. The highlights. There we go. Now we're starting to get warm. Right there. Go to our shadows. Same thing. A little bit more red in this one. Not too much. Yeah, we'll try that for now. So click OK. Then we can copy this and duplicate it. Now for this one we're going to want to get a blur. So we can go to Filter and we'll do a motion blur. We're going to want it almost straight up and we'll do straight up and down here. Just to give it a little bit of haze. That should be good about there. That doesn't quite look. Turn all those on here. Doesn't have the depth that this one does. I did forget one thing. Go back to your layer. It's got the drop shadow. Double click on that. We're going to have to change our angle here. There we go. So it looks like we're actually going into the ground. If you want, you can see how it's changing it right there. We want it to keep close, I guess you want to call it the shoreline of the lava. Right through there. You don't want it too far away because then you see what's happening there. We just want to give it some depth and dimension here. I'm going to turn up the opacity. And if you want, you can mess with the contour as well. Like that. So I did the half round. That makes it really deep. Just click OK, and there you go. There's a few artifacts over here. It looks to be kind of bright red over in the left-hand corners. It's all dependent on how you set up your image. So as far as these glowing corners here, that'll have to do with the black and white levels of our original layers. Make sure everything is solid black, solid white, except for the gradients around some of the edges here. So there it is. It's not too far off from that, but like I said, I mean, it's all personal preference, and you will have different results based on the pictures you use for your gravel and your dry lake bed. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, or you can head on over to chachiclothing.com and just hit contact, and you can just leave everything right there and I'll get back to you. If you want, you can request, go ahead and request the actual Photoshop layered file. I can email it to you. I'm just not going to post it on my website just yet. So if you really want to study it and see how things work, if you missed something and you want to check it out more in depth, go ahead and ask me. I'll send it to you. And if you go over to the download section, you'll see at the bottom is a higher res JPEG. Feel free to use it for whatever you want. I don't need any credit for anything. It's fine. It's good for textures in 3D programs. So there you go. Hope you guys learned a little bit something there in Photoshop, and stay tuned to all of my next tutorial on these little sci-fi buildings. I'm going to build them in Cinema 4D. I'll show you how to build them all from simple cubes. And the file download is right there. If you want to get a jump on it, just click that and you can download the actual Cinema 4D file. I was working with version 10.5 at the time, so just be forewarned that you're going to need that or a higher version, and we're up to 14 now. Anything lower than 10.5, you won't be able to open it. So, until next time,